Calls grow for more transparency from RCMP over the Rhonda Blackmore situation. A wildfire emergency advisory is issued for Prince Albert National Park. And why did it take so long to postpone Friday's Rider game?
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Regina MP Michael Cram is the latest to demand answers on why Rhonda Blackmore was removed as head of the RCMP in Saskatchewan. He says secrecy surrounding her removal is unfair to Blackmore and to the public. Wayne Mantika has the latest.
Over a month has now passed since Rhonda Blackmore was relieved of command of RCMP F Division without public explanation. Now a Regina MP is seeking answers.
Well, I just think it's totally unacceptable for Ms. Blackmore's reputation and career to be ruined as a result of anonymous complaints. So I feel that it's time for the Minister of Public Safety to come clean and to start providing some answers, not only for Ms. Blackmore, but for the general public as well.
So far, there has been no response from the RCMP or the federal government. Earlier, the Saskatchewan government wrote to the federal Minister of Public Safety.
The concern that was raised was quite simply that we lost our commanding officer of F Division and have very few details around that, and it's been quite some time since that removal.
Blackmore has since been reassigned as Assistant Commissioner for Indigenous and Support Services. The FSIN has called for her reinstatement in Saskatchewan.
We hope they reinstate her or bring her back to us where she can have that relationship. Maybe having her in these detachments, overseeing these investigations to communicate with First Nations. Right now, there's mistrust. We don't trust the current system.
The provincial government is still awaiting a response from Ottawa. Meanwhile, MP Michael Cram says if he doesn't get an answer, he'll be raising the matter in the House of Commons. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A wildfire emergency advisory was issued last night for Prince Albert National Park as flames have entered the northeast part of the park. Now, visitors are being told to be ready to evacuate, including residents of the resort town of Waskesiu. Jasmine Pelche has more.
Some have decided not to let a wildfire advisory put an end to their summer plans at Waskesiu.
Staying positive. I live close to the lake. I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but it's scaring away some of the crowd here. You can tell the campground's kind of cleared out. So
we got evacuated out of Evacuee Lake a couple days ago, so we're just here finishing up a little bit of a vacation.
Shortly after 6 p.m. on Sunday, Parks Canada issued a wildfire emergency advisory for Prince Albert National Park. The advisory says the Bull wildfire is 40 kilometers from Waskesiu and that this fire has potential to cause emergency situations for the public, including deteriorating air quality and visibility. Residents and visitors are asked to prepare for evacuation if required.
We were supposed to stay here till tomorrow, but we decided to go home today to Saskatoon and stuff.
As of this morning, the bullfire is 35,000 hectares. The SPSA released an update that the fire has entered on the northeast corner of the park and resulted in a road closure on Highway 916. Environment Canada says those in the area shouldn't expect the smoke to go away anytime soon.
It doesn't look like we're seeing a lot of change in where that smoke is going over the next little while, so it's something to keep in mind. We are going to be seeing that smoke. There's a lot of smoke in the area, and it's looking to continue for the next little while as we make our way through the rest of the work week.
Including the bullfire, there are currently 55 active wildfires in Saskatchewan, 12 of which are not contained. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Waskesiu.
SGI Canada is bringing in private tactical wildfire teams to help protect properties in northern Saskatchewan. It comes as hundreds of homes have been lost to wildfires so far this year. Stacey Hine explains.
Last week, Cindy Bottrell had to leave her home in a moment's notice as wildfires got closer to the village of Beauval.
It was like panic mode right away because we were trying to stay back, but then no, they said we got to go, and then Now we left with our cat.
Wildfire Defense System says when people are evacuating their homes, last-minute fire prevention isn't top of mind. That's where its crews step in. The private firm is hired by insurance companies to protect insured properties in areas near wildfires. It says crews move combustibles away from homes, clean out gutters, and tape up openings in the home.
The majority of wildfire structures burn from the inside out, not from the outside in. Embers get into the structure and they will then catch fire. We work very hard to seal up a house to make sure that there is no place for an ember to get in.
WDS says crews don't fight fires. They step away once they've done everything they can. After the fire moves through, they return to check on properties and put out hotspots, adding it has a 99% survival rate for properties it responds to. SGI Canada recently started contracting WDS with crews on the ground in Beauval.
There is no additional cost to SGI Canada customers for this service. It is included as an added layer of protection with their current coverage.
SGI Canada says so far this year, there are 600 to 700 wildfire-related claims regarding evacuations, total losses, and smoke damage. It says it's too early to tell how this wildfire season will affect insurance rates. Meanwhile, WDS stresses the importance of homeowners making their own homes fire safe. As for Patrell, she watches and worries for her community.
Hopefully the fires don't go through the community.
Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
SaskTel is providing some relief to wildfire evacuees until July the 31st. The Crown Corporation will automatically waive all wireless data overage charges for customers that are living in Beauval, English River First Nation. That includes La Plonge and Patinac, Lac La Plonge, Jans Bay, and Quewezance. Customers will also be credited for their SaskTel Internet, Max TV Stream, and home phone services. SaskTel adding that the eligible communities may change over the coming days as, of course, this wildfire situation evolves quickly. Regina police responding to a collision involving a pedestrian in the city's east end this afternoon. Just before 2:30 p.m., officers were called to the intersection of Prince of Wales Drive and West Fair Road, where a truck appeared to have struck a pedestrian. Several police vehicles, a fire engine, and multiple ambulances were on the scene. Traffic also rerouted as the collision blocked the northbound lanes of Prince of Wales Drive. In the email to CTV News, RPS says that there are a few details to share at this time, adding more information will be provided when available. A 23-year-old man from Fenwood, Saskatchewan is dead after an ATV rollover that happened Friday night. Indian Head RCMP responded to the rollover on 3rd Street East in Odessa. EMS and STARS also attended this incident, but the man was declared dead on scene. RCMP continue to investigate. And much of the province has seen rainfall today, but some funnel clouds are spotted in southeastern Saskatchewan. Funnel clouds spotted in the Merrifield area and at Cannington Manor Provincial Park. There haven't been any reports of touchdowns at this point, and most dissipated shortly after forming. Joined us for our first look at weather, and as mentioned, rain the story of the day, at least in southern Saskatchewan, with non-stop rain in the Regina area.
Yeah, it's been steady rain, whether it's scattered showers or light rain throughout the day. There's a band of precipitation lee that's kind of cutting right across southern Saskatchewan. You can see it on the radar satellite. We also do have some special air quality statements issued for southern Saskatchewan, and then just north of Regina, further into reaching into Saskatoon, now we are seeing those air quality warnings in effect for many parts of western Saskatchewan. So something to keep in mind if you were planning on spending some time outdoors, especially tonight. Not the day to do it. Probably wait another day or so. Temperatures have been much cooler than what the average is as well. Usually our highs for this time of year are about 25, 26 degrees. We barely got to 20 degrees in many parts of the province, especially in southern Saskatchewan. Further up, you can see North Battleford, Prince Albert currently sitting at 20 degrees. But again, the average is about 25, 26 degrees. We only got to 18, but a warm-up is on the way, and I'll have more coming up in your full forecast. Lee?
Thanks, Sabine. Well, on Friday night, Sabine was working the Riders game as one of the two in-game hosts and wasn't a popular person after announcing the game would be delayed yet again. Now, poor air quality forced kickoff to be pushed back several times until the game was postponed to Saturday. A frustrating experience for fans who sat through hours for nothing. Mick Favel has more on the process behind the decision.
weekend at Mosaic Stadium, fans held their breath for one of the biggest games of the season, waiting hours for the action to begin, only to be told to come back the next day. Kickoff was originally scheduled for 7 p.m. on Friday, but because of smoke moving from the west and the air quality index not budging, players were prevented from taking the field.
We want to get the football game played. So our intent was to wait as long as possible to try to make that happen, with the belief that even with the reduced wind speed and knowing what had happened to the west of us, that it was going to clear. Unfortunately, it just sat there.
The game was eventually called off around 10:45 and rescheduled for 2 p.m. the next day. A tight turnaround for everyone involved, including the host at Real, who were able to get the venue ready for another game less than 24 hours later. Through a statement to CTV News, Real said, "From venue operations and concessions to clean crews and event logistics, our staff worked late into the night and returned early the next morning, fully committed to delivering an exceptional fan experience." Although the game went ahead as planned on Saturday, the fans in the stands may have taken the biggest hit, with a notable drop in attendance for Part 2, some feeling there could have been better communication the night before.
The updates were a little sparse, to be honest. People were just kind of sitting and waiting, and we're checking our phone, and the index was super high, so we were kind of like putting the pieces together ourselves.
From 7 to 10 p.m. Friday night, key stakeholders had their eyes on the air quality index, waiting for it to drop, even willing to push the game close to midnight, but conditions never improved enough to play. In a statement, the CFL says its weather protocol outlined procedures for in-game delays, but there is no time limit specified for games that have not started yet, adding they will continue to review and adjust policies and protocols as needed. Mick Fable, CTV News, Regina.
Well, right now, it's central Saskatchewan that's dealing with an air quality warning. The city of Saskatoon seeing high-risk conditions for most of the day. Ali Mandrick has more on the smoke's impact and how long it's expected to linger.
Be full of kids enjoying summer soccer, but the air quality in Saskatoon has thrown a wrench in those plans.
We've been kind of dealing with the smoke on and off. At the end of the season, we had a little bit of some smoke delays with games at the end of our league, so we have had to deal with it a little bit this summer.
Due to wildfire smoke wafting in from northern Saskatchewan, lots of summer programming had to be canceled for the day.
We know it's disappointing for the kids who want to come out that day, but yeah, logistically, we have to kind of keep an eye on it, kind of hour to hour, and then we have to make the call if it's going to be on or not that day.
Many in the Saskatoon area have had to alter their plans due to the smoke. Environment and Climate Change Canada issuing a health warning advising residents to stay inside as much as possible.
What's in the smoke that's creating that health risk is what we call fine particles. PM 2.5 is what we measure. It poses the main health risk to people from wildfire smoke. The symptoms from that smoke, things like headaches, cough, that irritation in your sinuses.
Climate Haga added that while certain weather conditions can help mitigate the smoke, there's not much that can be done other than wait for it to pass.
A lot of rain, you can flush it out a little bit, but often you will get worse air quality as that smoke is kind of pulled out. So you can kind of clear it up a little bit, but it is a plume of smoke. It is in the air, and it will kind of last and travel around. It's not going to just magically disappear.
While the smoky conditions create challenges for many, Digneen reminds people that those in northern communities have been facing a greater issue for months.
There's a reason why there's the smoke in the air. There's lots of fires going around Saskatchewan, so we really feel for anybody who's affected by those forest fires.
The smoke is expected to linger in and around Saskatoon for the next 24 hours, and folks are advised to limit their time outside as much as possible. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The Canadian Forces Snowbirds are in the swing of their summer tour schedule, but were able to make a stop near their home base. The Snowbirds held an air show in front of a sold-out crowd at the Moose Jaw Municipal Airport on Saturday. Every year ahead of their show, the team often uses the airport's airspace for practice, and this show is helping the airport build a new grass runway in return. It's also the first show for the squadron's new commanding officer, a former Snowbird pilot himself.
having done the job before, I can connect in a different way with the team. I understand what their challenges are. I understand, how the big machine is working, so I can make better informed decisions because I have been in their shoes. I understand their struggles. I understand their challenges.
The Snowbirds also did a flyover at Country Thunder, Saskatchewan on Saturday. They are only scheduled dates in the province this season. And speaking of Country Thunder, Saskatchewan's largest country festival wrapped up for another year. As Sierra D'Souza Butts tells us, despite a lower attendance and smoky conditions, people say the 4-day event still hit all the right notes.
For 30 years, Janice Halibura has attended Country Thunder, Saskatchewan because of the community that comes with it.
We enjoy being together. We are traditionally always in the gold site. We enjoy our site. We can actually get out. We don't get stuck.
After 4 days of the province's largest country music festival, people are packing up and hauling out. Over the course of the weekend, close to 20 musicians performed, ranging from local talent like the Hunter Brothers and Jess Moskaluke to headliners Bailey Zimmerman and Def Leppard.
Over the years, the entertainers have changed, but overall, I think it was a successful year.
I wouldn't say it was one of my most favorite years to come to Country Thunder in terms of the acts, but Def Leppard put on a hell of a show, though.
Country Thunder says about 21,000 people attended this year, down from 25,000 last year.
Definitely less people. The last few years, I think attendance is going down. There's a lot of empty campsites out in Silver, and I think the price has a lot to do with it. Prices are up every year.
Organizers say they have noticed a trend in people purchasing single tickets rather than weekend passes, adding people often wait until the last minute to see what the weather will be like.
In the past, they've announced the headliners, and I wish they'd go back to that because they're losing a lot of people because of that, because you don't find out till January.
Organizers say they book artists a year in advance to provide something for everyone. Traditional country music with a blend of rock is expected for next year's big event, but for some, the lineup doesn't matter.
I already renewed. I already bought 6 tickets at my campsite, so I'm back next year.
Lumsden RCMP responded to 156 calls throughout the festival, laying 4 criminal impaired driving charges and 40 roadside suspensions, along with 2 assault charges and 1 mischief charge related to property damage. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Craven.
Still ahead, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre raises the alarm over the Prime Minister's conflict of interest. And U.S. President Donald Trump threatens tariffs on Russia to end the war in Ukraine. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was in attack mode today, going after the Prime Minister for promises made about his financial assets and potential conflict of interest. Now, Mark Carney has disclosed a fuller picture of his investments to the Ethics Commissioner. Judy Trin has the details.
There is a cornucopia of conflicts of interest in these investments.
The Conservative leader is raising concerns about the Prime Minister's business dealings in his past life. Before entering politics, Mark Carney sat on the boards of Brookfield Asset Management and Stripe, a credit card software company. He has millions of dollars of assets in the 2 companies, which he put in a blind trust.
I comply with my responsibilities. I comply with the rules well in advance.
New disclosures filed by Carney to the Ethics Commissioner revealed that Brookfield and Stripe own or control more than 100 other corporations, including clean energy businesses and real estate.
The list of potential conflicts goes on and on. How can he possibly be involved in developing a budget when all the tax policies could impact on his investments directly or indirectly?
The Commissioner's office says the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Marc-André Blanchard, and Privy Council Clerk, Michael Sabia, will be in charge of screening Carney's government decisions, which Carney says will prevent him from giving preferential treatment to any of the companies while he exercises his official powers and duties.
As long as they're invested in businesses while they're in public office, their investments will taint every decision and cause them to make decisions in their own interests, even if they claim not to be doing that.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the only way to ensure that the Prime Minister won't breach his ethical guidelines is for Mark Carney to sell all his assets, then hand over control of the funds to a trustee to invest. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
In Manitoba, more than 12,000 residents have been forced to leave their homes in a second wave of evacuations this summer. Officials provided an update this afternoon on the current wildfire situation.
As of today, there are 122 active fires burning in Manitoba. We've had 297 fires to date, and the 20-year average for today would be 217. Fire danger is moderate to high across the province today.
8 communities have been evacuated with no new orders to leave issued in the past 24 hours. There are currently 18 states of local emergencies. A wildfire in eastern Manitoba is now making its way into Ontario, and there are about 60 wildfires in the northwestern part of the province of Ontario, a quarter of them out of control. Hundreds of people from First Nations have been forced to flee their homes. The head of TikTok is calling for an urgent meeting with Canada's industry minister about Ottawa's order to shut down its Canadian operations. A leader obtained by the Canadian press shows TikTok CEO Shu Chu reaching out to Melanie Joly at the beginning of the month, asking for an in-person meeting. TikTok was ordered to resolve its Canadian business back in November following a national security review of its Chinese parent company ByteDance. At the time of that decision, the U.S. was looking to ban TikTok, but Donald Trump has now extended a key deadline in that process. No word on whether Ottawa has responded to TikTok's letter. Rising tensions with Russia after Donald Trump sent Vladimir Putin a pointed message today, threatening 100% tariffs if the war on Ukraine is not resolved within the next 50 days. Trump also revealed a deal to supply weapons to Kyiv through NATO. CTV's Abigail Bimman has the latest.
I think this is a chance at getting peace.
A bold claim and a big threat.
But we're very, very unhappy with them, and we're going to be doing very severe tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. Tariffs at about 100%.
U.S. President Donald Trump hosted NATO top boss Mark Rutte in the Oval Office, promising billions in military equipment, including Patriot missile defense systems purchased from the U.S. by NATO allies.
Germany, massively, but also Finland and Denmark and Sweden and Norway, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Canada. They all want to be part of this.
The Patriot system is viewed as kind of being a top tier one. So not just that he's going to provide support, which is a change in and of itself, but also that he's going to provide support with pretty advanced weaponry is beneficial.
Just ahead of the Oval Office meeting, President Volodymyr Zelensky hosted the U.S. Special Envoy for Ukraine in Kyiv.
Very positive for both countries, and just now we spoke about air defense.
You wouldn't want to be Zelensky in this because you don't know which day, the United States is going to support you. But it's a good news story for helping them thwart the advance.
In terms of sanctions, Russia has already been hit hard, and U.S.-Russia trade is way down. But experts say secondary tariffs on other Russian buyers would make a difference.
When you see the largest importers of China and India being pummeled, that's where it's really going to hit Russia.
Separately, there is a U.S. Senate bill that looks at imposing 500% secondary tariffs on Russia. Trump said today that may not be necessary. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A wildfire has destroyed the historic Grand Canyon Lodge in Arizona, along with a dozen other structures. The Grand Canyon Lodge is the only lodging at the tourist site's North Rim. The visitor center, gas station, and some staff housing were among nearly 80 structures lost in the fires. There have been no reports of any injuries. 2 wildfires are currently burning at or near the North Rim. And 9 people are dead in a tragic fire that ripped through a long-term care facility in Massachusetts. A survivor recounts the terrifying moments.
The sprinkler system was burning hot water on my deck. So I got back in the room. It was filled with smoke. I went into the bathroom filled with smoke. I opened the window as far as I could, and then I hung out the window yelling, "Help, help, second floor."
The fire happened Sunday night. Fire chief recalling victims hanging out of windows, screaming, begging for help. Survivors say it was impossible to reach the exit through the thick smoke. Some 30 individuals were taken to nearby hospitals. Around 70 residents were living in the building at the time of the fire. The cause has not yet been disclosed. Coming up, a day to remember for a young man with Down syndrome on the Cote First Nation.
It's a stressful time of year for producers. In the morning, we're learning about a mental health film in agriculture and what they want you to know.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
I didn't realize I was up first. Okay, let's take a look. It's raining outside, and it's going to continue that way as we head into this evening. Thank you. We're going to clear the screen just to show you. We're also seeing a bit of haziness. Now, we don't have those air quality warnings in effect right now. I don't know if the warnings will go into place tonight. There is a special air quality statement in effect right now, suggesting we could see the smoke return for tonight. Let's talk about right now, though. Currently sitting at 16 degrees, winds at about 15 kilometers an hour. We did warm up to 18 earlier today, but we did start to see that temperature just continuously start to drop as we head into this evening. We'll cool down a little bit, and this band of precipitation that we are seeing right across southern Saskatchewan will continue to clear out, continue moving eastward, and by later this evening we should see much of that rain clear out. We could see some scattered showers heading into tomorrow, and we also, like I said, have that shaded in area still suggesting those special air quality statements for southern Saskatchewan. But in terms of what's to come, again, we know systems change. This is a lesson we're all learning, that systems could change, but as of right now, this is what we're forecasting to see with that system coming from the west with the rain. So as the system that we have seen bringing rain throughout much of today will clear into Manitoba, there is a little bit that we will see return from Alberta into the southwest. Maple Creek, Swift Current could see some more showers, and the Assiniboia area, and then it is expected to track further south down into the States, clearing out of Saskatchewan tomorrow morning, having a little bit of that cloud cover, but not much in terms of precipitation until we get into late afternoon tomorrow in the southeast, seeing some scattered showers. So much of the next couple of days expecting to see a mix of sun and cloud, not a whole lot in terms of precipitation, except for, like you can see even there Wednesday morning, little pockets of some scattered showers, and then that also returning by late afternoon in the southeast for Wednesday. And then as we head into Wednesday night and into Thursday, again, a mix of sun and cloud, not a whole lot in terms of rain except till we get into Friday. This is also just an expected look at what we could possibly expect to see for rainfall totals by Thursday morning. So not a whole lot expected. Weyburn, only because of that system that is tracking along the southern border, could see a little bit more, but again, that could fluctuate and change between now into Thursday morning as well. So not a whole lot in terms of rainfall totals for central southern Saskatchewan. And here's a look at our smoke forecast as we head into tonight. The winds are tracking, expected to be moving from the northeast. We'll start to see that smoke start to continue making its way down into the southeast as well. So again, most of that smoke could affect us tonight, but as we head into tomorrow morning, much of it should start clearing out, leaving us with more clear conditions when it comes to the smoke. Temperatures, again, I mentioned average about 25, 26 degrees, so still a little cooler than that, but we're still sitting in the 20s for many parts of the province tomorrow. A little further north, seeing a little bit more of that sunshine, and then when we get into Prince Albert, mix of sun and cloud, and again, we'll see a little bit more of that mix of sun and cloud and cooler temperatures, high teens for many areas in the south, cloudier in the southwest, 18 for Maple Creek, Swift Current, 19 for Moose Jaw, and similar story for the southeast as well. For us in Regina, 12 tonight with a chance of some scattered showers continuing to stick around. 20 degrees tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud. And then here's a quick look at your next 7 days. So a little bit cooler than what we have been seeing, but still we'll start to see that gradual warm up as we get into the weekend. So tomorrow again, 20, a mix of sun and cloud, mainly sunny when we get into Wednesday. 21 is the expected high. Nothing but sunshine for Thursday, 22. And Friday is when we could expect to see some rain, primarily in the morning. A couple millimeters of rain, not a huge rainfall that's coming through. 20 is the expected high, and then as we get into our weekend, we're inching back into that seasonal range. More sunshine expected, and then to start Monday, 25 with a mix of sun and clouds. So I want to say a mixed bag when it comes to conditions this week, but primarily we will see a mix of sun and cloud with those temperatures just a little cooler than your average.
Yeah, but this will be the rainy day for sure.
Yes.
All right, so if you wanted rain, today was a good day for you.
That's right.
All right, thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, this past Saturday was an extraordinary day for Nick Fraser. The young Saskatchewan man who lives with Down syndrome got the chance to be co-chief of the Cote First Nation for one day. Regina has more on this one-of-a-kind experience.
He's been given that Cody medallion. That means he has a key to the reserve. Yeah, you can go anywhere you want, any of these.
Nick Fraser is the honorary chief of Cote First Nation for one day.
The children are so special, and the ones with disabilities, we want to make it known that we never forgot them.
Co-Chief Fraser, who has Down syndrome, put in his name for the chance at the 2025 Snoworama Silent Auction, which raises money for programs helping people with disabilities in Saskatchewan.
And Nicholas was the fortunate winner of that because it is an opportunity of lifetime for someone like Nick to have be in a position to get to participate alongside Chief George.
Nick paid for the auction entry out of his own pocket, taking his day as chief on Saturday during Cote First Nation's annual powwow.
I'm here today, and it must be safe money for Camp Easter Seal.
The main program Snoworama supports is Camp Easter Seal near Watrous.
Because it's a camp where they are looked after. There's medical staff, there's counselors, there's everything that you could ever want, just like a camp that these guys would be able to go to. And it's wheelchair accessible. They take care of diets. They take care of all of their needs.
The title of chief is one that Chief George Cody was happy to share for a good cause.
It's such an honor, and to see Nick so happy and smiling, knowing that he's going to be chief of Cote First Nation for the day.
This was Cote First Nation's first time offering the experience, but not the last, because this heartwarming day is a powerful reminder that inclusion and recognition matter. Regina, CTV News, Cote First Nation.
Still ahead, the Riders get smoked by the Stampeders, suffering their first loss of the season. Details after the break.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
For Rider fans, Saturday's showdown versus Calgary was not worth the wait. Riders simply dominated in the trenches by the Stampeders, who now had the Riders suffer their first defeat of the season. Donovan Mace has the details.
A Friday night cookout, smoked out, and pushed another day.
It was brutal. It was brutal. We're sitting there and, we're trying to figure out what the protocols are.
Poor air quality at Mosaic Stadium postponing Friday night's battle for first place in the West Division between the Rough Riders and Stampeders.
We're talking about, teeing it up at 11:15. It's like, hey, this is probably a player safety issue where, we're sitting in the locker room for 6 hours and then go out and warm up for 20 minutes and play and be done at 2:15 in the morning. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
And 19 hours later, we get the battle for first place that we've been waiting for. We are underway, finally, at Mosaic.
And once underway, Saskatchewan coming out flat.
And he's got Alford wide open down the field, and now the race is on.
Led by quarterback Vernon Adams Jr., Calgary taking down the Riders 24-10 and handing the green and white their first loss of 2025.
Belt to ass. We got whooped, and that's just what it is. I mean, that's, again, I know what everybody, that's a good football team that we played today, I should say. I thought VA was on point.
Adams popping off for nearly 430 yards passing.
It wasn't necessarily what VA was able to do, in my personal opinion. I think we created some holes in our defense. We lacked attention to detail.
And the Rider offense halted in its tracks.
AJ Ouellette, nothing going on the ground yet today.
Despite 425 passing yards, just 16 on the ground.
I don't want to put it all on AJ's shoulders. I thought early, truthfully, this might have been the first game of the year where I thought, the physicality in the trench battle, I thought honestly was not in our favor.
But players quick to not make the delay and postponement an excuse.
They had to do the same thing, and so it's an equalizer. You can sit there and say that, but they had to do the same thing.
And while Saskatchewan's win streak ends at 4 and the Riders drop to second place, no panic within the room.
A lot of times, when you like you slingshot things, you pull back first, and sometimes it's what catapults you forward. And so but like I said, it's going to come down to how we respond to this.
The Rough Riders will look to get back to their winning ways Saturday on the road in BC. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Weekend, the Regina Disc Golf Association put on a new challenge for the sport with a 12 hours world record charity event. The event was organized to help raise money for the Street Culture Project and to test out how many rounds of disc golf can be played by one community from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Ever since the sport took off in popularity during COVID-19, Regina is seeing a growing community in a sport that they say is one of the most inclusive available.
No, we don't care about your score. We just care that you come out and enjoy the walk in the park, basically. Throw the disc if it takes you, if you throw 200 throws or if you throw 40 throws, like we don't care, basically, type of thing, as long as you come out and have some fun. And our plan in the future would be to challenge other communities like Saskatoon Disc Golf Association or Calgary, Winnipeg, Edmonton, and just gotta be like, this is the record that we set. Here's an open challenge to all the different associations maybe next year.
Regina Disc Golf says more than 225 rounds were played Saturday, surpassing the last record during the COVID-19 pandemic when 129 rounds were completed in one day. Coming up, an inquest into the death of Bernard Quewezance begins in Regina.
Let's take a look at your rural forecast heading into tomorrow. So again, if we're closer to the southern border, we may see a little bit more scattered showers for tonight. Tomorrow morning, as it starts to clear, we'll start to see more sunshine. So some of these icons will see a mix of sun and cloud, but then we will see mostly sunny conditions for areas like Watrous. And again, tomorrow, we're gradually getting back into that seasonal range, but still a little cooler than the 25, 26 degrees. Most of the areas that we're looking at right now will climb up to close to 20 degrees, 21 for Meadow Lake and Hudson Bay, and then 19 for many parts of rural Saskatchewan tomorrow, in particular that central part there. Southern Saskatchewan, closer to the border, again, like I said, we'll see mostly cloudy conditions first thing in the morning. As we start to head in later into the day, we'll see a little bit more of that sunshine, but still expecting to see some cooler conditions in the southwest. 14 for East and Cypress, 16 for Rockland, 18 for areas like Maple Creek and Rockland, for Coronach, but a little warmer in areas like Pilot Butte, Lumsden, and Kenora, 20 degrees and a mix of sun and cloud. But if we take a closer look at Grenfell, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 125 kilometers east of Regina. Tomorrow, warming up to 18 degrees. May start the day out with a little bit of scattered showers, but we'll see a little bit more of that mix of sun and cloud by the afternoon.
The incident happened on June 12th, 2025, on the 2100 block of Prince of Wales Drive. A man goes through a woman's purse and walks away despite being confronted about it. The man then appears to have an interaction with a woman in the store. They leave and then head to another establishment in the area where they use a stolen credit card from the purse. Suspect number 1 is described as a man, a Caucasian, wearing a camouflage-style baseball cap, a brown hoodie, and tan dress shorts. Suspect number 2 is a woman, Caucasian, wearing a white floral top, black tight-fitting pants, black shoes with white soles, and a wide, white-brimmed bucket-style hat, a sole long black braid out of the back. The woman then changed her hairstyle and some of her clothing before attending to the next store before using the stolen credit card.
I'm Constable Dana Adams with the Regina Police Service. Crime Stoppers will pay up to $2,000 cash reward for information on this or any other serious crime in Regina. Callers do not have to identify themselves. Calls are not traced or recorded. In Regina, Saskatchewan, and Canada, call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. That's 1-800-222-8477. You can also access our website at www.reginacrimestoppers.ca. Remember, our community suffers when you remain silent. Please report crime.
Crime Stoppers is brought to you by Leak Audiology, helping you live well with better hearing.
Inquest is underway in Regina this week, looking into the in-custody death of Bernard Quewezance. Jacob Carr has the details.
Monday morning was day 1 of the death inquest for Bernard Quewezance, with Coroner Frederick Kovac presiding. A jury of 3 Indigenous peoples and 3 non-Indigenous peoples was chosen due to Quewezance's Indigenous descent. The 37-year-old was found unresponsive in his cell on June 2nd, 2022. EMS was called and staff began life-saving efforts, but he was pronounced dead shortly after. The first witness, Correctional Officer Ronald Orellana, told the inquest that on the day he died, Quewezance was causing a disturbance, reportedly kicking and elbowing his cell door. When asked if he knew the reason for Quewezance causing said disturbance, Orellana replied that he did not know. Orellana testified that he and his partner removed Quewezance's shoes to keep him from harming himself. According to Orellana, Quewezance then forced his way out of the cell and had to be restrained by a group of officers because he was being combative and non-compliant. Orellana claimed Quewezance was also incoherent at the time, but eventually calmed down and was placed back in his cell. Orellana then headed back to his original post on a different floor. The officer stated that gut instinct told him to check on Quewezance after their interaction. That's when he said he found Quewezance lying face down, not moving or breathing, and called for assistance. Then shortly thereafter, a code blue was called. We will have more on the inquest as it unfolds. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Stocks, the TSX up 175 points, while the Dow Jones also went up by 88 points. The Canadian dollar, it went down 0.04 of a cent to 73.00 cents U.S. Commodities, gold down $12.08. West Texas Intermediate crude down $1.56, while Western Canadian Select crude went up $1.47. And gas in Regina, we haven't seen a change yet. It is commonly found at most places, if not all, for $1.31.9 cents per liter.
Hello there. Toronto's bellwether stock index ended at a new record high close today, just below 27,200, even as oil and oil stocks slipped. The Canadian market was boosted by miners as silver traded above $38 US an ounce, near the highest in 14 years. Some investors have switched to that metal as an alternative to gold, which has been hitting record highs. And finally, shares in Pet Value Holdings hit their highest since 2023. Sales growth slowed at the company last year, but brokerage firm Stifel has been surveying Canadian consumers and says 3/4 of respondents expect to increase their spending on pet food and pet accessories in the next year. The retailer has more than 800 stores across the country. Almost 1/3 of them have grooming salons. Now that's a profession I'm thinking of taking up as a second career. After all, how hard could it be? That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, with little American Ninja Warrior, a couple hours of that, followed by The Rookie, Big Bang Theory, E-Talk, and then your national and local news. Backstreet's back, all right, and Sabine, larger than life.
2.0. This is it. This is behind the scenes. The camera's not going to see that.
You're supposed to say Backstreet's back, all right.
I didn't want
The Backstreet Boys are celebrating their Millennium 2.0 album. It's a 25th anniversary record. They shared some behind-the-scenes footage of their recent photo shoot. The pop group also kicked off residency at the Sphere in Las Vegas this weekend. And the videos are amazing.
Of the actual performance at the Sphere, that is a great
unreal
facility for anything.
I think it's definitely a bucket list item now, for sure. Well, if there's anything better than unexpected friendships in the animal kingdom, is there any?
Just looks like a day at Wascana Park.
What's happening?
Well, a wildlife sanctuary in Ontario's cottage country sharing the story of Ella the moose and their trumpeter swans Odette and Kobe. Whenever Ella moves into the wetland sector of the sanctuary, the swans greet her and they all just hang out.
Oh.
They summed it up perfectly. Unlikely friends, but permanent roommates. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. They totally oversold that.